everybody, thank you so much for tuning in today. This is going to be a fun little casual kind of vloggy, just sit down, chat, Q&A about this pregnancy. I cannot believe we're getting so close to the end of this thing. When this video goes up on Monday, I will be 36 weeks. So getting into that final month, I haven't really done a lot of like month by month vlogging of this. You know, I've given some updates along the way, but I just thought this might be kind of a nice little catch-all video to answer any questions you might have and for one day me to look back on and kind of know how this whole thing went. The story of baby number 3 in the womb. So I thank you for being here, and just a heads up, a couple of other videos that I do want to put out in the coming weeks are my what I'm taking to the hospital videos, so like how I pack my hospital bag. I have not done that yet, so that'll be coming. And I also want to do a video all about like the postpartum survival kit, as I call it, and just some of the things I've prepared for myself for after the baby is here. So those will be on the way as well, but I just asked for questions on both Instagram and Twitter. Let me get it opened here. This is hitting me really cold. I've not looked at your questions yet, except for just like the first few that came in because we had a dinner party to go to last night. It was fun, but the theme was like wine pairings and multi-course meal. And of course I couldn't do the wine pairings, but the multiple courses, I fill up quick. I've got a lot of space being taken up in my body right now, so big meals are kind of hard for me. Let's see, Salamandabot says, in my first trimester and feel terrible. Can you reassure me it gets better, please? Yes, I think it's very common for people to have a hard time in the first trimester. That's usually the most typical time for like feeling nauseous, and you just got a lot of things hitting you at once with the hormone change. And even though you don't have this massive bump at that time, you're feeling so many symptoms. And for me, I've never been one who has gotten ill during pregnancy. I've maybe had the queasy feeling a time or two, but not near what some people go through. But I think a lot of people would generally agree that like once you hit that second trimester, it's kind of a pretty comfortable time of pregnancy. You're not huge yet, but it seems as though your body has settled down a little bit. But congratulations to you. I do think you will start to feel better soon. Lena Olsch says, how are you feeling? Excited? Yes, I am so excited. Like next level excited, so interested, so intrigued as to what this little boy is gonna be like. I have no comprehension. I have no vision really for what this little boy is gonna be. If it were another girl, obviously I've got some things to draw from here. And I mean, he could just look a lot like them. I don't know. Just the experience of having a boy, it's gonna be all new to me. Steph says, any more babies after this one to even/round it out? You know, 3 just seemed like a really, really good number to us. I think it's very, very likely that this will be it. You know, if you want to hear God laugh, tell him your plans kind of thing. I don't like to speak in super definitives where this is concerned, but I'm pretty sure this will be it. I'm pretty sure. But in the concept of rounding out, I'm sure that pertains back to like boy, girl and all that. Like we weren't in some place where, okay, we're gonna go till we get that boy. Like if you guys watched our gender reveal video, you know, like we kind of expected this was going to be another girl, and obviously we were cool with that. Like that was all we could really envision and all we could wrap our heads around, and would have been totally happy had this been a girl. And I had to overcome some shock for the fact that knowing it was going to be a boy, I just didn't have it worked up in my mind to be that way. So I think this is going to be great. I think it's going to be a wonderful adventure, but nothing we've set out to do with our lives and bringing babies into the world was in an effort to get a certain like sex of the baby. You know, that's not the mission, and I think you could be really frustrated if that was your mission because you just can't control it. Several people saying I look huge on my picture. Thank you, I think. Ira says, are you shooting videos in advance this time around too? I guess I did have a couple kind of in the can when Biddy came along, and it sort of allowed my channel to keep going a little bit even when I wasn't really working on anything. So I think I will make that a goal to have maybe a couple things going up, but the upload schedule will no doubt be shaken up for a little while, and that's fine. Beak a good one says, she's got a lot of E's in her name, what traits do you hope baby boy inherits from you and Tyler? That kind of question makes me emotional because like I remember thinking, you know, I don't know what this baby will be right now, and I hope that there's so much he would take from Bub. My husband Tyler is just a very fascinating human, honestly. He's this big, 6'6", manly dude, and yet he's very soft-hearted. He can be very, you know, quick to cry and show emotion, and these are things I didn't really know about high school Bub when I started dating him. But, you know, as we've unpeeled the onion that is Bub, I've definitely learned these things about him. He's super compassionate. He's just got a wonderful heart. And I think over his years on the outside, why he has been such a well-liked person, he's gotten along so well with so many people in his life, is because he presents this burly guy exterior, but he has never had this cocky, arrogant sort of persona to go along with that. He's very smart, he's very quick-witted, very sensitive though, and I would hope that any child we have would have those kinds of qualities too. From me, I hope maybe just some grit and determination. I'm very, very committed to the things that I get into, so I hope maybe some of that will trickle down to him. Iva says, are you going to get an epidural again? Heck yeah, I'm going to get an epidural again. I guess there could be unforeseen things where you plan to get the epidural, but things happen quickly. I know that that's always possible, but yeah, I would plan to get an epidural. I've had it with the last 2 births, and I know everyone is certainly entitled to their own like ideas and philosophy of how they want childbirth to go, and I fully respect that. But I do think any woman going through any type of childbirth possesses a hell of a lot of toughness. I don't care what happened first, if you had the epidural, if it turned out to be a C-section, if it turned out to be a vaginal delivery, there is a toughness in you. And even if you do get an epidural, like, I mean, I felt things and I pushed like heck. I really knew I was having a baby, but here's what I love. I look back on my last 2 babies that I had, and the first thing that comes into my mind is not pain and anguish. The first thing that comes into my mind is a joyous, actually really amazing experience. I think about my awesome doctor. I think about family members who were present. I think about the fact that, yeah, there were some tough moments in there, but doggone it, like, it was great. Like, I love that being the memory. I love that being the place my mind gets to go back to. And if modern medicine offers something that can take the experience of childbirth and help it be so enjoyable and potentially an awesome memory to think back on, I mean, I love that, and it makes me not scared to go into it this time. So yeah, I'm gonna get an epidural again. Thank you so much to people who just left kind, encouraging compliments. Thank you. One BBAP says, in what ways has this 3rd pregnancy been different than the previous ones? On the whole, I feel like they've actually been pretty similar. There have been times where I've thought, if I didn't know that this was a boy, I might just assume it was another girl, because it really has been a lot like the others. The only thing is that I've got a hunch this baby is bigger. Just certain effects on my body, I feel like it's maybe a larger baby in there. Now, I haven't been in for any big like measurement ultrasound since the 20-week one, but the reason why I say that is because I've had more of an acid reflux kind of situation here. Now, that is an old wives' tale saying if you have a lot of acid reflux or heartburn, that your baby is going to come out with a lot of hair. Well, I had it with the last 2, and they were both hairy babies, so I expect this one to be hairy as well. But I've had even more of that, and I feel like some of it ties back to the baby taking up more space and putting more pressure on different areas. And also just here in the last few weeks, like, I fill up so fast when I eat. I will still have all the hunger, like eyes bigger than stomach, you know, I'll think I'm ready to eat a ton, but then I'll fill up after just a very small amount. And I think that's, again, you know, you've got baby pushing on areas and making you feel like you're fuller than you are. But one other thing too, outside of sort of the physical, I feel like I've been more emotional. Maybe there just is this knowing or belief in me that this is going to be the last one, and I'm just taking every moment a little bit deeper than before. I don't know. Or maybe just hormonally there's something more going on, but I just feel even quicker to cry about things and just, you know, feel emotional. A lot of people commenting that the pregnancy went so fast. I mean, I guess that's the way it feels when you get like an occasional update every couple months or so. You're like, oh, this is flying by. Let me just put it in perspective for y'all. How long ago does Valentine's Day feel to you? you, okay? It feels like forever ago to me. That's when we found out. And you think of all the life that's happened in between there, the seasons that have changed, the vacations, the trips, all the different things that have happened. It's like, no, time did not move any faster during these last 9 months, 8 months so far. Birth plan or go with the flow? Well, I made a birth plan with Belle, like a written out birth plan. I remember them telling me to do it, and I've had the same doctor, by the way, all throughout all 3 of these, and things have gone so incredibly well. I don't feel like I laid out a lot of specifics the next time around. I'm just like, you know, I want this to go kind of like the way the first one did. And same here too. Something I literally did write in my birth plan, like it's in writing, it's in my file somewhere in the hospital. I'm like, you know, when you go into Subway and there's a certain kind of sandwich you want, but you have to say every little ingredient and sauce and topping that you want on it to get there. I'm like, I don't want to have to say every little ingredient and topping. I just want to have the, you know, chicken teriyaki or whatever, and I'm not sure what the exact recipe is to go into it, but I want you as the expert nurses and doctors to help me get to that place of just happy, healthy delivery and whatnot. That's always been a frustration with me at Subway. It's like, you got to point out all the things. It's like, okay, you've got a certain kind of sandwich. It's got a certain name. It looks a certain way in the picture. Is there not a textbook way to just have it that way? But no, every person I think has to consider just going with the flow. You could lay out a bunch of preferences. You could have things you would prefer to do. You can have a great vision for how it's all going to be, but ultimately you've got to take tidbits of information as they come and the developments of your body and the progression of labor as it comes. Know whether you want the epidural or not, but beyond that, you've got to be flexible and you've got to be willing to go with the flow. Have you ever or would ever consider a home birth? No. I will say I don't know a lot about the ins and outs of how a home birth would actually be executed, so that response is not being made out of a great deal of education on home birth. I just know that I like being in a hospital. Any strange food cravings? This time around, like I've wanted all the tart candy type flavor, like a slush or some kind of popsicle, something really like juicy and fruity always sounds good. But like unusual food combos and really weird things like that, I can't say anything's been that odd. I would say the biggest food thing that I'm always down for is a Whopper or Whopper Jr. from Burger King and some fries. Like, that is it. That's the biggest thing that I want, and I feel like I want it more now than I maybe ever have in my life. I don't know why that is. Fun fact, that has been the post-baby meal for me after the first 2. Cindy says, what do you actually need in the hospital bag? What are the must-haves for a newborn? Great question. Again, I'm gonna do a hospital bag video soon. You don't necessarily need to take as much as you might imagine. But I'm gonna dive into that a little bit more from my perspective in an upcoming video. And meanwhile, there is a certain channel I would like to direct you towards. She is a labor and delivery nurse. I think it's called, what's the name of her channel? Yeah, I feel like if I close out of this, I won't be able to get back to the questions, but I'll have her linked below. And she has done some wonderfully fascinating videos from her perspective as a labor and delivery nurse and mother herself. And she's talked about what you need to take to the hospital. Very recently, she's done 10 things your labor and delivery nurse doesn't want you to take to the hospital, things you should know about labor, things you should know about C-sections. Like, she's done some super informative videos that you could just binge if you want all the really good like baby insights. So I will definitely link to her channel. A lot of people asking just like kind of how this pregnancy has been different from the others. So I did talk about that. Did you eat a special diet or try something like Shettle's method to conceive a boy? No, we did nothing special to try to make this be a boy. Again, we kind of had our sights set on a girl. I remember when they called me and they told me the results of the blood test that said it was a boy. They asked me what I thought it was. I said, I think it's a girl. Name for the baby. Yeah, we're not revealing that this time around. I just thought it would be fun to maybe have a little element of surprise here with this one. I kind of felt that way actually after the last 2. We still did a name reveal on Biddy. Actually, her name's Eve, who uses actual names anyway. But no, I love the name that we've chosen. We're just gonna keep it a surprise until the big day comes. I'll give you a couple hints though. The first name, it's just a name name we really like. It's not like he was named after somebody or like there's a real significant personal attachment to this name. It's just a name we really like. It's a name you might associate with this person or that person, but he was not named after any certain person. It's just a name we like. But then the middle name does have more family significance. I'll say that. Not a question. I just want you and Bub to have a bunch more kids. Okay, Ashley, I got your name here. I'm gonna track you down for help. Was this pregnancy the hardest or easiest one you've had? I feel like they've all been relatively the same amount of ease. Maybe feeling a little harder on my body now that we're getting toward the end, maybe noting a few more aches and pains. But overall, I gotta say, and I know this is not the case for everybody, so I'm not trying to be like, I just have great pregnancies, but I mean, my body, for whatever reason, has responded really well to being pregnant and has not presented me with a lot of complications, issues, super mega discomfort, or anything like that. What do you think will be different about life with a baby boy? I don't know. You hear about boys just being described as a lot more rough and tumble and wild and stuff, but ultimately a lot of that comes back to just the individual child's personality. I mean, there are plenty of girls who could be that way too, so I just don't know. I think it'll depend a lot about what this little boy's personality is like, but I cannot wait to see that start to unfold. And you can see it fairly early. Like, you can kind of tell a newborn's temperament. I'm really excited to see him mixing in with our current family dynamic. I mean, I've got a couple little girls here who are both, not that like zodiac is the be all end all to describe a person and all that, but I've got a couple earth sign girls. I've got a Capricorn and a Virgo. And I see so much of those very grounded earth sign traits in them. And then I'm gonna have this boy who's gonna be a Scorpio. I don't know that much about Scorpios. I'm not sure what to expect, but I feel like my girls are, and I'm an earth sign too, I'm a Capricorn. It's hard to explain, but I kind of really understand what they're about. And I'm here for the ride. Like, however this little baby boy turns out to be, you know, I'm here for it. Are you nervous about juggling the basic needs of a newborn plus 2 toddlers? That's from Megan Does Makeup XO. That's a great question. But I really don't feel as scared this time around as I did before having Biddy. Let me just lay this out here. Before I had Belle, there was almost so much unknown about what it would be like to have a baby, and I had so little experience with babies that I don't think I even knew what exactly to fear, you know, or what to be nervous or anxious about. Like, I didn't know enough about having babies. Turns out that was the biggest emotional leap for me, going from no kids and having a pretty long span of our relationship, me and Bub, before having a kid. The big shock to the system was just emotionally, you know, suddenly I'm so invested in this little being and they've like kind of rocked my world and changed things around a little bit. But yet I still came to know that yes, you can still have your own passions and your own life and your own self, even though your world has changed so drastically. So it was a big kind of emotional thing there. And then before having Biddy, I remember being very nervous and scared about the whole idea of multiple children and the thought that here's Belle, who, like, I love her to pieces. How could I possibly love another human as much as I love my first one? Like, you know, I'm gonna have to have some faith that that will be possible, but I can hardly imagine it. But then it happens and you realize, oh my gosh, I can. Like, the heart just expands, you know, like as our whole family saw, like the love just grows. There's no other way to explain it. But there was that wonderment and that apprehension before Biddy was born. And then also I just had a lot of fear about the physical grind. And I think that was the #1 change there. Keeping up with 2, Belle was 2 years old. She'd only turned 2 several months prior to Biddy being born. So I had this very needy toddler and now a newborn, you know, fragile newborn state. Gotta hold him with both arms, gotta cradle the neck, like everything. And that was very tricky there for the first few months, I remember, just juggling. But now here's why I feel less nervous. Belle and Eve, like, I mean, time marches on. Even from the 9 months of a pregnancy, when we're talking about the development of small children, so much can change even from the moment you find out you're pregnant to having the baby with your current kids. So much growth and development development is still underway. And they are such a duo. They play so well together. They entertain each other more. Yes, they need me, but they need me not on the same level of like a tiny child. Like Biddy's gonna be 3 in January, you know, Belle just turned 5. I'm really glad they have each other. They've built such a tight bond, and I feel like that's really gonna come in handy when newborn comes into the mix and will be obviously so front burner with so many needs. But these girls are very like, want to help. Any opportunity Belle gets to help Biddy with something, you know, she just glows. She thrives on that. And I think Biddy will be the same. They both are really excited and really like wanting to help. And I've talked to Belle about all the different ways she can help mommy. And I've described her personality before as very maternal seeming, extremely caring. Like, I mean, just the other night, I'm gonna cry if I talk about this too much. They're watching Wizard of Oz, and it's like the scary part. And like Belle will just instinctively put her arm around Biddy. Like she just has this kind of innate maternal seeming instinct toward anyone younger than her, and they both are fascinated by babies. So I think it's gonna be actually really, really great. And routines can be shaken up and crazy for a time, but it does all start to eventually fall into place. I've seen it happen. You know, I've seen my life feel like everything got scrambled up and just shaken and turned upside down, and then it all eventually starts to sort itself out. And not to be that person, but time does go fast. The stages you're in, it can be very easy to be like, oh my gosh, my baby's not sleeping. They're never gonna sleep. Like, I'm gonna live the rest of my life and my kid won't sleep. Like, no, every little phase that they're going through is temporary. And it's very easy when you're especially stressed and sleep deprived to see the particular struggle you're in and think that that's never gonna change. But just remember, temporary. That baby and your other young kids and whatever's going on is in a constant state of development and movement. So I would encourage anybody else who's fearing things like that to not get too bogged down with it. And I'm really setting myself up to not want to wish away time. I felt like Belle and Eve were kind of difficult newborns, and they went on to be a little bit easier toddlers and good sleepers, eaters, and things like that. But the earliest days were the toughest, and I almost found myself saying like, oh, I just can't wait till she's a little bit bigger and then she can do this or that. And then she won't be going through this phase or that phase. And I'm telling myself right now, like, don't wish away time because it will just move right along on its own. Somebody says, not really pregnancy related, but how do you handle having a cat with babies and young kids? We do have one cat, Cupcake. We call her Baker too. Most cats that I know are generally pretty standoffish when circumstances change. Like, I've known one when I was younger and with mom and dad. I remember they had quite a few cats that they were like feeding on the back deck and stuff, and one of them was like the most dog-like cat you've ever met. But overall, I feel like cats are a little bit more like, you know, keep it at a distance. When Belle was a new baby, you know, she kept her distance, and she really, like, I think the cries and all that were just such a shock to her. And it was never like, is she gonna get too close? No, it was like, can we maybe try to bring her in a little more and get her a little more acclimated to the situation? So she really keeps her distance. She wants to be around me a lot, Bakey does. Once those girls go to bed, she knows it. She wants to get up on the couch and cuddle with me. But she has become so at ease now. Like, those kids can be playing and roughhousing practically in the living room, and Bakey will be content to like lay in the middle of the floor just letting it go on around her. And I don't think she sees the kids as a threat anymore, and she's never been threatening to them. And I think you just have to raise your kids to know, like, you have to be gentle around animals. You cannot expect that animal to want to be your friend if you're approaching them like racing up to them and being really loud and being really crazy. So there's a gentleness that we've really tried to teach, and like reaching out, letting the animal like sniff your hand first and then gently petting, and you've got to be non-threatening. It takes everybody, cats, babies included, I think some time to warm up to the idea, but it eventually works. Oh, the baby bedside nursery. Yeah, it's gonna be a bedside nursery, as I think I talked about in a vlog. Like, we're gonna really probably have him in our bedroom for the better part of a year before he moves into his own room. So once I get a few of the pieces out, like his little bed, a little sleeper situation, and a couple other things, I will show that. Will you miss being pregnant? In ways I think I will. Pregnancy has been good to me. Like, I've enjoyed it. It's a miraculous feeling to think that something is able to grow and develop inside your own body and come out hopefully healthy. I really like my pregnant body. I love having a bump. I will miss that part. What prenatal vitamins do you take? I take the Rainbow Light ones. It's like the 2-pack, so it has the vitamin and the DHA and all that. Overshare here, but does anybody else who takes those feel like it makes their pee like bright yellow, neon yellow? What is the number one thing you would tell a terrified first-time mom? Oh my gosh. I would say a big word to keep in the front of your mind is this: temporary. That will hopefully help you keep perspective in moments where, like I said earlier, it feels like the struggle you might be in that moment is never ending. It is temporary. And that will also keep you straight on the times when, you know, you're rocking and you're smelling the freshly bathed newborn scent and everything's calm and the world seems at peace. Remember, that's temporary too, and that will help you appreciate those moments as well. But also, like I said, it will give you hope getting through the difficult phases, which really are just phases, because you will figure out sleeping, you will figure out eating, you will figure out breastfeeding, or you will move on to what you need to do that works. Has anybody watched any videos from Marie Forleo, like Everything is Figure-Outable? The hard times, looking back, have not been long times. You know, they've been temporary. Will you vlog the birth? Probably will. Yeah, I'd like to. I'd really like to do some videos, actually. I say this now, you know, before I'm in the thick of it and really like stressed out. But I would really like to put out some vlogs very early on, like, you know, here's what the first 24 hours were like. Now here's a vlog about first coming home. And part of it's just really wanting to kind of journal that for myself. But I think that kind of stuff is so helpful to other moms. Having those early vlogs, like I look at people like Aaryn Williams or Tara Henderson, mommy vloggers here on YouTube. I think they are actually delivering a huge service to so many people, because being a new mom, having a newborn, you can feel kind of isolated at times and feel kind of like alone in what you're dealing with, or feeling like a certain struggle is never ending, or just suddenly not having the freedom you once had to just pick up and go do something. I feel like those real, raw, early vlogs showing people exactly how it is and giving them something to relate to and something to help them better understand what the experience is like, I think is such a great thing to offer the community. So I would like to do more of that with this pregnancy. Somebody asked, can I shave my own legs? It's probably coming on the heels of seeing Bub painting my toenails, which, like, I mean, if I'm really craning around, I probably could paint my own toenails if need be, but it is kind of a hard reach. With shaving my legs, I can kind of like get the sideways thing going and figure it out, and I can get there. But can I say this? I hate doing it. I hate having to bend at all. I have a very short torso to begin with, and now I have like a basketball right there. Kim Jasper says, do you plan to return to YouTube after precious time with the baby boy? Absolutely. I don't have any plans to end my YouTube channel or any of that. Just be patient with me, because it'll take some time to feel out the routine again. I kind of have a goal of getting to the place where I can keep doing it how I've been doing it, which is waking up early, shooting the videos, but it's gonna have to really coincide with feedings and stuff like that. Are you planning on breastfeeding? Yes, I am. I did breastfeed both of the other girls, Belle for 17 months, Biddy for 14 months, and I came to really enjoy it. Belle, I had several months at the start. The first 3 months were really, really hard with her, but I stuck it out, and a big reason for me to stick it out was that she was gaining weight and she was seemingly thriving, but I was in a lot of pain with the nursing. She was born in September, and I remember once we got around Christmas time, like, my gift from God was that breastfeeding started to feel better, and her little mouth, I think, started to grow, and it just all came together. I did a video called Breastfeeding Tips I've Learned the Hard Way. It's over on my vlog channel, and it's perhaps one of the most useful things I've contributed to YouTube ever, I think. So I do plan to nurse again this time around, and like I said, with both situations, it came to be just a really great, wonderful thing. I mean, breastfeeding can be very draining. It can be extremely time-consuming, but it's a wonderful thing if you can get it to work for you. It's an amazing thing for you and baby. And I'm just really hoping he takes to it well and naturally and just does a good job with it. And, you know, the fact that it went on for 17 months with Belle, I think I just wasn't quite so aware of the weaning process and how long that would take. And every baby's a little bit different there. But by the time I had Biddy, I was a little more ready to know what to look for, like signs that maybe the baby is ready to really start weaning and backing off of feedings and like really, really slowly and gradually lessening them. And that all worked out really well for them. Got some questions over on Twitter as well. I'm going to see if there's anything that I haven't already answered. Do you already have their Halloween costumes planned for this year? Yeah. Now, little brother, his due date is just a couple days before Halloween. So I've got like a little pumpkin onesie and a little bat onesie for him. The girls both want to be ballerinas this year, and they've been ordered off of Amazon. Any predictions for what the baby's strongest features will be? Also height, weight, etc. It's such a toss-up. I mean, with me and Bub, appearance-wise, we are both so different. You know, he has the light kind of pinky tone complexion, blonde hair, blue eyes. I look at babies on his side of the family and like they're all blonde and like super light hair and blue eyes. And then like our two girls have dark hair, and this will be the first grandson on my side of the family. So it's really going to be interesting. Like, will it be a mini Bub, or will he kind of take after the look of his sisters? And height-wise, I don't know if you guys all know this, but I am 5 feet tall. Bub is 6'6". Bub was a 10-pound baby, okay? Like, I have no idea. Could turn out to be a child of just overall average height. Could completely take after his dad. Could take more after my side of the family. I don't know. Is there anything making you nervous about having a little boy after having 2 girls? Oh, I love you too. Thank you, Erica. Do you remember with the gender reveal video, like I felt nervous kind of early on, like, oh my gosh, just having the info dropped on me that it was going to be a boy, I thought, oh my goodness, like what a change. And the more I've had time to mull it over in my head, really the less nervous I am. I am just so excited. Like, I cannot wait to see the little face. I cannot wait to just see the personality start to unfold and start to understand who this little person is going to be. Like, I cannot wait. I am so eager. And that eagerness is definitely overtaking any nerves or whatever. I do feel like I know that girl life so well. I just pray that I will be whoever he needs me to be. And I know he is going to have 2 big sisters who will absolutely love him to pieces and just be obsessed. And are you doing makeup before or after, I guess, having a baby? I probably will, if at all possible, do makeup before. I don't know, it's just kind of my thing. It's my armor. It's what I love. And I will probably do some light makeup after. I'll take a little bit in my makeup bag. My battery is flashing now. I have gone until I couldn't go anymore with this Q&A. Thank you so much for watching. Look forward to more like what's in my hospital bag videos and postpartum essentials stuff. I will be doing that. Love you guys so much. Thanks for the amazing questions, and I'll see you soon. Bye.